Hi, I'm Donna Webb with Bright Sky Nutrition, and this is part 2 of a video series on sugar. And the first part we talked about glucose. Hi there, I'm Donna Webb with Bright Sky Nutrition, and this is part 2 of a 5-part video series all about sugar. And we're not just talking about sugar in the broader sense of all carbohydrates, but specifically sweet sugar. And in week 1, we talked about sugar having 2 parts. We talked about it having a glucose part, where glucose can be used throughout the entire body as a source of fuel. And today we're going to talk about the other part, which is fructose. And fructose can only be broken down in the liver, which is different from that glucose part. So the fructose really goes to the liver, and the liver is what metabolizes the fructose. And so the liver does a great job, but it can only handle a small amount. It can handle the small amount, let's say, in an orange. It can't handle a giant Coke from McDonald's or your favorite fast food restaurant. So what happens with the too much fructose, number 1, is that fructose is turned into fat, also known as triglycerides, and then it shoves it away from the liver. And so when it does that, where do we store it? We store it right here in the gut. So that is when we get a little bit extra weight in that gut area, that may be because of too much sugar in our diet, and we're storing that fat, that triglyceride fat, as visceral fat right there in our torso. Another thing that happens when we break down fructose is one of the byproducts of breaking down fructose is something called uric acid. And we think of uric acid with gout and in our joints and causing pain. But uric acid also interrupts the process of healthy blood pressure. And so it really can drive us or lead us to having blood pressure that's starting going up too. So there's just a couple of the things that can happen. Again, it's the too much fructose that's the problem. So in the next video that we're gonna talk about food and where to find sources of fructose and glucose and move those out of the diet. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Donna Webb with Bright Sky Nutrition, and this is part 2 of our 5-part video series about sugar. And we're not talking about sugar as carbs in that broad general sense. We're actually talking about sugar as the sweet sugar, table sugar, molasses, honey, all those kinds of things that are sugar. And so we talked about in the first video that sugar is 2 parts. It's glucose, which can go through the entire body to be used for fuel. And today we're going to focus on the other part, which is fructose. And fructose can only be broken down in the liver. And the liver does a great job of breaking it down and using up that fructose, but it can only handle a small amount. So when we give our body too much fructose, what happens is 3 things. First of all, our body converts that fructose to a fat known as triglycerides, and then it shoves it back out of the liver to be utilized in other areas. So when we have high triglycerides, it might be because you're getting too much sugar in your diet. Number 2, that triglycerides pushed out of the liver is stored all around the gut. So it's stored around our vital organs right there, stored in the torso. So if you're starting to gain a little bit of weight in your stomach area, that might be also because of too much sugar. The third thing that happens is that fructose, sort of a byproduct of breaking down that fructose, is something called uric acid. And we typically think of uric acid associated with gout and causing joint pain, but uric acid also interrupts the process of healthy blood pressure. So you might find that your blood pressure is starting to rise a little bit. Potentially that can be because of too much sugar in your diet. And so our bodies can handle, let's say, the amount of fructose in an orange, we can't handle a large Coke from one of your favorite fast food restaurants. So thank you for listening, and come back in a few days and we'll have part 3 of our 5-part video series. Thank you.